going to talk about your resume. You need to maximize your resume. Make certain that you really bring in everything possible in your resume, but keep it short, keep it pointed, because you are a business communication person. You know how to sit down and condense. Say something well in as few words as possible. Choose a style that appeals to humans and artificial intelligence machines as you go through. Of all of them, the chronological style is by far my recommended methodology, especially for people just entering in the job market or have 5 years or less experience. There is a functional style that I recommend for people when they have a long-term career experience with 20 years in the workplace. That might be better because you can recruit it right sitting down to do that. It is hard to write, and recruiters have a tendency to be suspicious of them. So be cautious on that. If you have a lot of experience, I would have both of them on the functional style. It really focuses on skills for your functional style versus the chronology. Most human resource departments, they're going to look down and see when you work, and they're going to track from job to job to job. If there's an opening and they don't have an explanation as to what the opening is about, they may have a concern about that. So the preference treatment all the time is chronology by human resource departments. If there's a 7-year gap, I had one gal, she decided to stay home and raise her son. And she was back in the job market 7 years later. She sat down there and she tossed in there, raising the future of the world leadership. And she described her experience. I hired her. I thought it was great, but she made certain she filled in her 7-year gap with something that was interesting and appropriate. And it caught my attention because of the fact she was straightforward and honest what she's talking about. And I can relate to that just as well. If you just left a gap over there, no matter what happens, human resource people can and will have a question, is what you're looking for. Always go through in a chronological style is my recommendation as you go through. The length, there's different lengths. If it just depends who you're talking to and what field that you're in. And in really higher education, we like to babble nonstop. It is pretty common for a college professor or a college administrator to have a 5-page resume. I've seen 12-page resumes because we're too much, I hate to say it, sometimes we're kind of full of ourselves. Don't tell anybody I said that though. Okay, so on a normal world, if you have less than 9 or fewer years experience, a 1-page resume or a page and a half. If you have 10 or more, you really should fill out 2 pages. If you're a senior executive with a lot of accomplishments, you have 3+. My resume is actually 5 pages long. One of them is actually dedicated to the different presentations and writings that I've done as well. That is a very specific field, and that's not something that you're going to get into unless you do a lot of speaking and a lot of writing in the process. Your resume should be as long as needed to present your skills. That is the main purpose of it. Don't add too much in it, but you always want to sit down there and think about the purpose. The purpose of the resume, the purpose of the application, the purpose of the cover letter isn't to get the job. The purpose of that is to get them to call you up and invite you in for an interview to get the job. So really, it is a calling card, like a business card, to say, wow, this person has skills. And then you come in and you verify you have skills. And on top of that, they want to work with you. So keep in mind what that whole process is about. Never lie in your resume, but you do have a right to focus your resume in on the job that you're applying for. So here is the length that you go through. People sit down, and it depends what year it is and what the current mood of society is. Some people, they sit down, they put colored paper. They think that really is outstanding. I personally turned off by colored paper in the process. Some people put pictures in there. I recommend never to put a picture on your resume. There could be something that they don't like. They may have had a bad experience with somebody with blonde hair, and they don't hire you because you have blonde hair. Seriously, you don't want to give them a reason to throw your resume into that pile of things you're not going to look at. You always want to focus in on what are your skills. In my opinion, plain white paper, straight up font. Your font should have just a couple as you go through. Mix a couple of different fonts. You should always have your headings in the font. Your headings should be no tails. And I recommend either Calibri or Arial in the process over there. Your text, I recommend Cambria or Times New Roman, something like that with tails. Headings clear as you go through. Here on the example on this slide, you'll see main heading. There's no tails in there, and it really is bold. It draws your eye to it, and it's lined up with that left-hand margin. It looks simple, it's uncluttered, and there's no question exactly what that is saying. Underneath it, it's not bold. In this case, it still doesn't have any tails in it, but it's simpler, and you don't have that harshness of the boldness, but you do want to have it harsh to sit down, and your next heading can go down one notch slower, and the next heading one notch slower. That really helps an awful lot. Have a nice clean heading as you go through. Never put your business phone number down. You put your personal phone number down. Never put a job you're currently in, never put that email address on there. You don't want them emailing your business email account, because two things. Number one, you don't want anybody at work knowing you're looking. The other one is the person that's contacting you about a job, they think that if you're looking for a job on work time, you'll do the same thing to them. Make certain you don't give anybody that kind of a doubt or have that kind of a reputation. It's all about you, and it's all about you as an individual, not you in this company over here as you come through. It depends on what you have. If you don't have a lot of material, okay, you may want to put a career objective. Generally, I don't recommend them because of the fact that when it comes down to it, I'm applying for this job over here. Duh. Okay, what job are you applying for and what's your career objective? My objective is that job. Okay, so it doesn't take a rocket science to figure that out. Except, okay, if you're applying for something specific and you don't have a big resume to come through, that's when you put the career objective over there. To obtain an entry-level position with a strong company where I can utilize my skills, that is just about as boring as you can possibly get. Improved. To obtain a junior accountant position where my recent accounting computer training can help an organization achieve its goals. It's so much better. Okay, so focus in on exactly what you're applying for and what you want to have. Junior accountant, you're not saying that you're not going to rise up to a senior accountant. What you are saying is, I want to start and I'm willing to roll up my sleeves and do the toughest accounting job you possibly have and rise over there. I have accounting training that's recent, and without saying it, you're saying, I know the current rules about accounting, which may be different than somebody who hasn't been back in school in 15 years. Okay, and computer training, I know the latest on computers. That's what you're saying, but you're not saying it. It's a really good way of saying that. Under qualifications, bullets really, really help. Put 3 to 8 bullets in your cover letter and have your resume also with bullets on it as you go through. Put your most impressive qualifications in those bullets, have your education, put awards down there. By the way, nobody cares that you were at the high school captain for your soccer team. That is not resume material. It does show the fact that you were a leader involved at high school, and if that's the only thing you have to fall back on. But really, if you want a championship, if you did that, that's all good for you. But you're looking to get a job, and it's got to be good for them. Team sports, in my opinion, are actually a very positive factor in people and how they get along with other people. If you learn team sports at a young age, it does translate, in my opinion, into team playing in the business world as well. Don't denigrate it, but don't brag about a championship that you won back in junior high school. Okay, so summary qualifications. Here's a good example of it. 2 years experience in responsible administrative and accounting positions. That's a good summary. So if you have that on there, include that. Education, put your degree, date of graduation, and the institution. Technically, the date starts dating you, but no matter what happens, they're going to want to know how recent your education is in the process. List your major and GPA if you're starting out on there. As you get longer with more experience, the GPA becomes less and less relevant as you come through. Give in the information about your studies. Study financial analysis. That's all. Do not list the courses themselves. Nobody wants to see that until they ask for your transcripts. Always be ready to have a copy of your transcripts available for an employer. A good employer, if they're asking you to apply for a job, if they hire you, they're going to probably ask for your college transcript as you go through. So here's a good example. BA in Broadcast Communications, Arts, San Francisco. There's the year, the GPA, Dean's List, 2 semesters. Boom, that's it. You don't need to do any more bragging about your degree. I would even go to the point of maybe Bachelor of Arts if you want to sit there and improve on this as you come through. But keep it simple, keep it direct. They want to sit there and have a checklist and they go ding, ding, ding as they come down the list over there. On your work experience, list your jobs. Always start with the most recent, not the first one. You start with the one you're in now, and then you go on reverse chronological order. The most recent, the second most recent, and so on, going all the way back. You should list all the jobs that you have. Sometimes, if you have a lot of experience, that could be a long time as you go through. Put the employer's name, city, state, as well as different things about the employment. Here's a good example of it. More use action words to describe your experience. What did you do? Not just the job. Did you create something? Did you organize something? Did you responsible for? Be careful about making a shopping list of the things that you do. Make certain they're associating you with an action. The first word of each line should have a strong action word that's different. Don't use the same one over and over again. Don't sit there, stock shelves with cans of goods. Oh my gosh, it says created wonderful displays on shelves for customers to improve their selection. I'm saying the same thing, just mine sounds nicer and more interesting in the process, and it shows you had some creativity. Include nouns for skills and keywords. Keep in mind the keywords targeted for the position as you come through. Prepared state and federal tax returns. Now, if you're an AI and you're looking for things, you're going to look for state, federal, tax. Those are three keywords this person just dumped right over here. Conducted interviews. All of a sudden, the AI has a flag that pops up, and all of a sudden now you've got federal, state, tax, interviews. Okay, so now all of a sudden you may be in the top 5 or 6 people because you hit 4 of the 7 keywords in the process. Capabilities and skills, highlight technical skills, mention web applications, especially if you're applying for a technical job. Okay, emphasize your non-technical skills. Don't sit down there. If you have good communication skills, say, this is communicate regularly with customers and employees on a positive basis. Say words like that, make people know who you are, and go out and shine about the non-technical part as you go through. This doesn't sound like it's very much, except organized holiday works programs for 1,200 attendees. I'm telling you, if I'm sitting here, even a job in human resources, we do activities like that. Almost every company does. The people that do this kind of work to organize activities to get 1,200 people there and 140, those people are valuable, but the skill set is only for a short period of time, but you need them once or twice every single year. And you want to have a go-to person. That line there can sit down there and land you a job as a junior accountant of all things, because of the fact that you have skill sets to organize human beings. It's a big deal. Show you're well-rounded. Always list your different awards that you have, extracurricular activities. You may not think that sitting down and going down and working for the American Red Cross is very relevant. It is relevant because people want to know you're engaged in the community. You may not think about being a member of one of the different local social organizations, Rotary, Kiwanis, or whatever is relevant. It is relevant. There's different aspects and people you want to sit down there and have a checklist in your head, because they may also work at the American Red Cross. They may also work in this organization over here. They may also work with tutoring the K-6 students in the process. Think about those different things that are out there. And so on the resume, don't include your birth date. Don't include marital status, height, weight. That's nothing to do with the job. They're hiring you for your skills, and the skills are technical skills and soft skills. And consider if you need to have a home address on there, have references available. You do not generally put references in the resume itself. Usually references are on a separate sheet of paper, and you provide them when they ask for them. Double check, make certain you're using all the tricks that you learned in this class to sit down and have good parallel statements, and go back and edit, and be cautious if you can. Try to avoid the words I in the resume. No matter what happens, you're going to have to include 1 or 2 in your cover letter, but make certain you do your best to avoid all the different things of I. Nothing kills a resume faster than a typo or a misspelled word. One time I had somebody apply for a job as the dean at one of the colleges, and he left a different college name in the cover letter. Obviously, he was using the same letters for broadcast. He didn't take this class. In my opinion, I would never have hired him. The committee hired him, and we got rid of him a year and a half later. It showed that he wasn't very competent as far as I was concerned. If you don't double check things, what kind of sloppiness are going to have in your work as well? So make certain typo that you don't have them in there. Have somebody else read that. Use quality paper, quality printer if it's on paper. Have somebody critique your resume. It really helps an awful lot. Proofread, 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 proofread. Here's a poor resume. Objective, degree, experience. But the one thing is you're looking down the line, see objective, degree, experience. It draws your eye to them because it's down the other aspect of it. Spring 2017. What did you do in spring 2017? Oh, you worked this one spring at, no, nobody cares about spring 2017. They want to know what company you work for and what you did. Here's a better one. Summary of qualifications, relevant experience, boom. Apprentice, radio production. It doesn't mean I have to read anything. I already know, boom, I already have it in my head. If you got 40 resumes to go through, keep in mind, you want to make this easy for that person going through those 40 resumes to relate to you. Financial manager, spring publicity coordinator, temp positions. You go right down the line, and there's a certain checkbox that everybody has inside their head, and they're wanting to make certain you meet those checks. Keep the format clean. Only 2 fonts, one with tails, one without tails, and then review, alter your resume for each job, apply, make certain you explain any gaps so you have to ask you about it. Take care.